हेलो एवरीवन, सत श्री अकाल जी एंड वेलकम बैक टू आवर चैनल वंस अगेन। आज हमारी ट्रेनिंग सेशन हो रहा है, किरपा टीम का ट्रेनिंग सेशन। आज के ट्रेनिंग सेशन में हम बहुत कुछ सीखने वाले हैं और आज हमारे प्रोफेसर आए हैं हमें सिखाने के लिए। सो से हाय हाय। चलो ओवर टू यू।
Honors. Okay, guys. Today we're going to learn about off-plan sales, which you are doing on a daily basis, most of you at least. But these skills are calculations you will use even if you're doing ready property, right? But we will do a separate session just for ready property. But this is specifically for off-plan, okay? So today I want to just, and remember, this is an introduction, okay? This is not, we're not going into detail too much. This is just explaining a few terms. Terms, by terms, I mean keywords that we use in off-plan sales and what investors, like, the experienced investors, these are the words they are used to hearing, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is, go do a little bit of an introduction. Then we're going to look at some key terms or keywords that we will use on a daily basis in off-plan when we're presenting an off-plan property, when we're presenting the numbers behind the property. So those terms we will use. Then I'll show you some examples, okay, maybe one or two examples. Then expectations from investors. What do investors actually expect from you as the agent or the broker? Because if you don't deliver on their expectations, they will go to somebody else, right? It's that simple. So you need to match their expectations or exceed their expectations, okay? It's very important. Then we'll do a case study. Case study meaning we will take a real life example of one of the deals one of us has closed and go through the numbers, okay? So you will really understand it. And then objection handling. What does this mean? If a client is asking you tough questions, how do you handle them? Okay, so we'll go through a few tough questions in this presentation. Not all of them are here this time, but we have a few. So if an investor is being tough on you, then you know, okay, this is what I need to say, right? And it's a ready answer you have. All right. So first, just an introduction. You guys already know what is off-plan. What does off-plan mean? Off-plan is buying a property before or during construction, right? So if you're buying during the construction, it's still off-plan. If you're buying before everything starts, it's still off-plan. And off-plan usually means you're buying the design, really. That's all the vision, the design, the floor plan, the brochure, whatever marketing material the developer has given you, because there's nothing there, right, on the site. So why do people invest in off-plan rather than ready? Like, what are the differences between off-plan and ready? Off-plan, of course, if you're talking about money invested, then you're paying less money towards the property. And you're paying over time in stages, installments, right? You have a payment plan for off-plan, which you guys already know. Ready is different because if you want to buy on a payment plan, it's usually a loan or a mortgage. You have to go to the bank. You have to, do all that paperwork, get the property valued, etc., etc. So it's a long process. But off-plan is so simple. You go to the developer, you pay them the deposit, and you have started, your property investment journey. So again, this is all fine. Okay, off-plan versus ready. Again, there's a little, let's say, difference in the capital appreciation. Yes, you can buy ready property and still have that capital appreciation, because if you're buying in a very high, like dense area, like New York, for example, everything is ready. There's nothing off-plan. So in those areas, yes, there's still some capital appreciation happening. But in Dubai, we have seen over the past maybe 15 years or so, ever since the market started, there's not been much appreciation for ready property. It's always been, if you buy off-plan, you will make money, right, on the tail end. Let's say you buy off-plan today, in 3 years' time, when it's handed over, you will make that capital appreciation. So that's why people like off-plan more than ready, right? Because they can make that gap in the premium. Two major exit strategies. So when an investor buys off-plan, why are they buying, right? They're buying to make money on one hand, or they're buying to live in. So how do they make money? They have to sell. When do they sell? They can sell right before handover. They can sell on handover, which is basically the same thing, right? Or they can sell after handover. They can rent the property out, keep it for a few years, and then sell it. So these are the exit strategies. And then going forward, yes, investors want to hear from you. what should I do with this property, right? So you have to be the one to guide them. If it's a high growth area, and you know it's a high growth area, you know more developers are entering into this space, and this is the first project in that area, you know there's going to be high capital appreciation, right? So as a guide, like you're basically guiding them towards making money. This is your job at the end of the day, right? It's not just show them a property, get them to buy, and then you're done. You have to work with these clients long term. So if you're buying them something, you're selling them that same property as well. You want to be involved in that journey with the client, right? So what we're going to discuss today are just ways on how to analyze the property, how to make sure that, okay, if this, how much return can this give, how to calculate that return, how to show the investor, look, you buy today, in 3 years, this is how much investment you will make into the property because it's a payment plan. You're not paying 100%. This is how much return you can get. This is how much return on your money invested you can get over 3 years. So we will do all those calculations today, okay? So key terms, I'm sure you've heard of these two terms, or maybe one of them, because this term gets passed around a lot. ROI, right? Everyone's talking about ROI. What does ROI actually mean? Return on investment. What does return on investment mean? So it means the investment value, let's say whatever investment value you put into the property, that's gone, right? When you sell, if there is a profit, if there's a difference, if the selling price is bigger or larger than the investment value of the property, then you have a profit, right? So how do you calculate ROI, or return on investment, for a property? You take the sale price, you minus the total property cost, right? Whatever that is, that's your profit, and you divide it again by the total property cost. Very simple. And you multiply by 100 to get the percentage, okay? So ROI means return on investment. Every time you see a property, let's say, for example, we'll do an example after this page, so you'll understand better. So I'll do that later. Return on equity. Now, return on equity is different than return on investment. How? Let's say a property is worth 1 million, right? And you are buying it off plan. So in let's say 2 years' time, you've only paid 50%. So you paid 500,000, right? That's your equity. 500,000 is your equity. But the investment or the property cost is 1 million, right? So whenever we calculate ROI, or return on investment, we use the total property cost as the number. But when we calculate how much money we've made on our money that we have invested, which is equity, okay? Remember this, equity is only the money you've spent, all right? So the profit divided by the investment you have made times the 100 is return on equity, okay? So there's two differences. Again, I'll explain it one more time, so just so you understand. Return on investment means profit over or divided by the total investment times 100, right? Do you understand that? Like how to calculate that? If your property is worth 1 million and you sell it for 2 million, what's the profit? 1 million, right? So 1 million divided by your total property cost, which is 1 million, times 100 is 100%, okay? So that's how you calculate ROI. But let's say same property, we have we want to calculate return on equity. Return on equity, if we have only invested 500,000, but we sell it for 2 million, our profit stays the same, right? Profit stays 1 million because the property value is still 1 million, but how much money have we put in? 500,000. So profit is 1 million divided by how much money we have invested, which is 500,000. How much is that? 200%. So you see the difference? Now, if you think about when you're explaining to an investor, if you only tell them ROI, they will have a lower number. If you tell them the ROE, then they will understand what is actually the real return. This is the real return, right? ROI is not the real return. ROI is just the return based on the total cost of the property and the profit you're making. Yeah, appreciation, basically. You're right. So yeah, that's a good way to put it. If a property has appreciated 20% or 30%, that is your ROI, basically. That's it. It's very simple. And ROE is just how much money you've made on your money. Okay? Understood? This is a apartment in a project you guys know, Solis by Shobha, right? Shobha, you guys like Shobha nowadays, I think. That's why I put Shobha here. So now let's say we buy today, we book this property today, we pay the 40% during construction, and we wait until before the handover. Like right before handover, we wait. How much money have we invested? Only 480,000 towards this one bedroom. Okay, this is our money invested. Now, expected retail price. We have to calculate the premium, right? How do we calculate the premium? We have to look at what the average appreciation in Dubai is, percentage-wise, right? I've just put 8%. 8% is pretty normal, I think, right? Pretty average. So 8% over 2 years is 16%, correct? So if you add 16% to 1.2 million, you'll get 1.4, close to 1.4. Okay, 1.4 million. I've just rounded it off. So 1.4, let's say we sell the property right then for 1.4. Okay, now let's do the calculations. Return on investment means we have to, oh, sorry, this is wrong. It's supposed to be 1.4, yeah. But this is correct. So 1.4 minus 1.2, this is supposed to be 200,000, which I put here, but I forgot there. So the ROI is the profit. This is the profit divided by the total property cost, which is 1.2 million times 100. So your ROI is 16.7%. Okay. Now let's calculate ROE, return on equity. How much money we have made on the money we've invested. Okay. So equity invested, how much? 480,000. How much profit? 200,000. Divided by 480,000, which is how much money we put in. So what's our real return? 41.6% in 2 years. When you say that to an investor, don't you think their ears will be like, wow, really? I didn't know that. So let's focus. When we talk to an investor, we have to explain these two things to them. And sometimes these clients, they are educated, they know what they're doing, they've done this before, they know all of this stuff. But sometimes they don't, right? So for the person who does know it, he's already expecting you to tell him. But if you don't tell him, then he won't trust you as much. And for the person who doesn't know, they'll be like, wow, I didn't even know that. So, it's a positive for every client that you tell, these are the numbers that I think. And trust me, the agents out in the market who are closing deals, they're closing deals not because they have social media. When they need to tell the client, this is how much money you can make, then the client gets switched on. He's like, yes, let's take it, right? So you guys are really, really good right now on getting the client and talking to the client and taking the client to the developer. But the developer's agents, they don't have that much time to do this, right? They're just explaining the project. Yeah, let's do the booking. But you guys, you can actually do this. And I'll make it really, really easy for you, okay? I'll show you at the end how. But this is really, really important that you tell every client what's your actual return on your property based on the data, right? You're not just coming out, this is not from your head, right? This is based on the data that the DLD is providing us. How much return or capital appreciation is happening. It's different for every segment. So apartments, as we know, it's between 6 to 8% is the average increase. For villas and townhouses, it's actually closer to 20%. Okay, next two words. I'm sure you've heard of this as well. Gross yield and net yield. Gross yield, what does yield mean? Yield means how much, again, it's the same thing. How much money are we making on our money? But here we're using it for rent. The rental yield, basically, the gross rental yield. But people like to use, sometimes they don't even say rental. They just say, what's the yield on this property? Okay? So it's very easy to calculate. You take your annual rent and you divide it by the purchase price. And you get the gross yield. Okay, this is without taking any expenses out, any service charges. This is just how much is the rent. If let's say the rent is 100,000 and your property's value is, purchase price is 1 million, what's the yield? 10%, right? 100,000 divided by 1 million is 10%. I forgot to put 100, but you get what I mean. And then net yield, this is what experienced investors want to know, right? Here, gross yield, okay, you can tell anybody, you can get 8%, 9%, whatever. But net yield is what they want to know, because this is where you take out the expenses, right? You take out the service charges, which every project has, which every building has, which every villa, you will have to pay service charges per year. Plus maintenance. So maintenance can be anything. It can be, thank you. It can be property depreciation. Like, let's say the paint is gone. You have to repaint the house, or you have to clean, fix the cupboards, or whatever. Anything that's related to property upkeep is under maintenance, right? And this number can go up, down, it doesn't matter. Like, especially now, okay, in Dubai, we don't have a big problem with maintenance because most of the buildings are new, right? This usually happens in the older buildings where the maintenance cost goes up a little bit. And then net yield, again, annual rent. So whatever rent you're getting minus your expenses, whatever they are, mostly it's the service charges plus the maintenance divided by the purchase price, and you will get your net yield. This is what you need to tell the investor. Okay, this is the net yield for this property. And this is mostly used in ready property because you can't rent an off plan, obviously. So when a property is ready, this is what you will use. You need to know these two things, how to calculate them. Two more words that experienced investors may use, right, that you should know about. This one is exit strategy. So what does that mean? Exit strategy means when you're selling a property to an investor, right, you need to explain to them what is the exit strategy behind this property, behind this investment. You're buying today, you're giving them the strategy now. Let's say you say, okay, you're buying today for $1 million. This is the appreciation in 3 years. We're going to sell at this time in this month, right? It will take us 1 month to sell, to find a buyer. This is how much I expect the price to be. And this is how much ROI you will get. This is how much ROE you will get. That is basically the exit strategy. Okay, you have to explain that to the investor that, look, this is how much money you're putting in. This is how much profit you're getting. This is how much our return on investment. And this is how much return on equity. Okay, you have to explain this. Otherwise, they'll be like, okay, I'll buy it, but what's next, right? I'll put in the money. If you don't explain to them today, then they won't be as confident in you. All right, expectations from investors. Now, the experienced investor, what are they expecting from you, right? They want to know how much total money is required over this investment. So if you have the plan, you already know, right? If the investor is booking a property for 1 million, do they need 1 million? How much, like, you know how much they need. It will be maybe 50% or 60% of that value. So when you ask what's your budget, right? You're actually asking them how much money can they bring to this investment. And when you're selling them something worth 1 million, you know you're not going to need 1 million, right? So you have to get out of that frame of mind that, oh, I'm selling a property worth 1 million and he has to invest 1 million. No, it's purely how much money does he need towards this property worth 1 million. Okay, this is what you have to ask. And actually you have to figure out first before you go to the client. Expected returns and timeline. Again, this is going back. What are the returns? You have to calculate the returns. You have to show the returns and how much time. Okay, because it could be 1 year, it could be 2 years, it could be 3, it could be 4. It depends on your strategy, right? You have to create the strategy. Otherwise, the investor's not there to create strategies. Investor is there sitting with the money. You have to tell him, look, this money goes here. In 3 years' time, this is what you get back. That's it. It's that simple. Again, exit strategy. When are you going to sell? How much are you going to sell for? What are the numbers on that sale? Okay, how much time will it take you? Risk factors. Okay, risk factors. There's so much risk in anything you do, right? This is a risk, right? So when you're explaining to an investor, and investors will have this question for you, like, oh, Dubai, it's ruled by a king. What if the king decides tomorrow, I don't want any freehold, right? what's going to happen. So these are the things they will think in their mind. Maybe not now as much, but Dubai, because Dubai is Dubai now, right? Dubai is not like 10 years ago. And then the last one is the market data. So this is data you should use to form your investment strategy. Okay? Without the data, you cannot form the investment strategy. What do I mean? How will you calculate the appreciation on the property if you don't know the average appreciation right now, today, right? Or if you don't know what's happening in the past 6 months in that area where the investment is going to happen. If you know, look, in this area, there's no sales happening for the past 6 months, do you think it's a good investment? Maybe not, right? But this is the thing. You need to research. It's not going to take a long time, trust me. All you have to do is go to maybe DXB Interact, look up the area, look at the average sale price. If the property you have or you're selling to somebody is at the same level but double the price, it's maybe not a good investment, right? It's pretty easy to see. But these are things you learn over time. You can't just learn it in one day. So over time, you will learn, okay, what are good opportunities, what are bad opportunities. So these are some objections, and we'll talk more about the objections you guys have, right? Now, one of the objections, obviously, this always comes, what if the market drops, or what if it goes down, right? So what happens here? You have to explain that, and this answer can change. This is not the only answer, so don't say this every time, okay? Because you can't say this for Koin, for example, right? So, I mean, maybe you can, because there's an upside as well. The risk is greater, but the upside is greater too, right? But okay, what if the market drops? You can say we only select developers with a track record, strong track record, strong financial capability, right? Why? Because if the developer can finish the building, right, and hand over your unit, that's the best thing that can happen in the worst situation, right? You understand what that means? And then in areas with price stability. Okay, so if your project is in downtown or Business Bay or Marina, there's a price stability there. Okay, the prices haven't like gone to zero. Never. It's never happened, right? The prices, because these areas, look, think about it. These areas started only 15 years ago. They don't have a long lifespan. Okay, right now the prices are very stable in these areas. They won't just drop. It's impossible. Where the prices may drop are areas outside of the city at the farthest ends. Because when the prices go down or the rents go down, people tend to move into the prime areas, right? So if you're investing in the prime areas or even areas close to the prime areas, you're fine. Price stability is going to be there, okay? There's a vision for Dubai, 2040 vision. 2030, maybe not so much, but 2040 is the main overarching vision of the king, okay? In that, they have set, I don't know if you've seen the master plan. Next time I'll show you the master plan and I'll explain what's happening in each area. But the main goals of the government are to increase the population to 5.8 million, okay, by 2040, which is not double of what it is today. It's a gradual increase. It's not like they're not promising something that's, insane. It's a very systematic increase in the population. Dubai doesn't want the population to increase too much because they can't support that many people, right? That's why they are slowly building out the infrastructure. All the roads, all the highways you see building, the bridges, the metro lines, public transportation, the buses. The supply of buses, number of buses have gone up 3 times over the past 6 years. Did anybody know that? Okay. Now, the bus supply, the number of buses available, public transportation, has gone up 3 times, 300% over 6 years, last 6 years. Okay? Exactly. Yeah. So why is that? Because there's more people here, right? That's the reason. There's more people living in Dubai, more people that want to live in Dubai. People actually who want to live in Dubai, they cannot afford it, so they're moving out of Dubai. But if the population keeps increasing like it has over the past 5 years, we will have an undersupply. If somebody saying, I can rent now, as in I can buy a property and rent it out, why buy off plan, right? So if you are an off plan, and you want to, let's say, not push the client, but explain the benefits. There are benefits of buying off-plan, there are benefits of buying ready. You both know the benefits of each, right? Buying ready, you get a rental return immediately, right? You can rent it out right away. For the off-plan, it's not a gamble, but it's let's say, an investment into the future, right? And that future, you are betting on that future. So some people are more comfortable with the rental properties because they can see it, they can feel it. It's right in front of them. It's a physical asset, right? But again, the price appreciation isn't there. Let's do a case study, guys. Now that we've kind of learned a little bit about return on investment, return on equity, and all that. So this is actually one of the deals somebody's done in this company. Let's see. Let's guess, or let's figure out who's done this. It's a Damac Islands townhouse, 4-bedroom townhouse, 2249 square feet. Very good. 2.4, 2.49, 2.491. Yes, it's Sahil's deal that he closed. The payment plan over here is 75% during and 25% on handover, right? The construction period is 3.5 years. Here I've written holding period. What does holding period mean? It just means how long will you wait until you sell. Okay, so that's also 3.5 years. Like, let's say around next to handover. Paid till exit. How much has the client paid? 75%, right? So 1.8 million is already paid. Average capital appreciation. Now, 10%, I've kept it very low, by the way, just to show you, right? That look, we don't want to be over the top. If we show a client 20% over 3.5 years, the property is going to be worth, I don't know how much, because you can see here, based on this capital appreciation, we get a price of 3.4 million.
Okay, guys, I hope this session was informative for you guys. Thank you so much for watching this vlog. And thank you, Jay, for giving insights.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.